Hello and welcome to episode 23 of our Timberborn Update 7 Folktails Hard Mode playthrough here in cycle 32, day 31. We have 1.2 days left in this drought cycle, and we have a lot of stuff that we still need to take care of that we're probably not going to be able to get accomplished before the drought ends. But we still have lots of stuff we can do even without trying to rely on what the drought's going to give us access to. So let's go ahead and get these guys in triple speed and talk about what's going to be coming up in today's episode. Last time, of course, we did put in this housing complex that I mostly like. There's some stuff that I think probably should have been done maybe a little bit differently had I had that knowledge beforehand, but you know how it goes. We have our 1 day left of the drought, and I'm so tempted. I got to pause just to show you guys this. We have call it 4 2/3 depth capacity in the reservoir on this side. If we turn it around to the other side, we've got 5, and then down here is 6. So an idea was proposed in the comments by a couple people that what if we put in sluices back here so that the areas with the lidos could be continually filled in. And I thought that was a fantastic idea until I remembered that to put that in, we'd have to remove these entire levees here, and then I got kind of sad. But then, scrolling down the comments, see, I always read all of them, but scrolling down the comments, somebody else had an even better idea and told me a way to get that actually put in place. And then I thought, oh, okay, well, that's going to be fantastic. But basically, the idea is you put in a whole wall of stuff behind this, just in one vertical thing here, and then you can take this bit out, just for example, this column here, and then you can put your sluice in, and everything will be fine. But what I don't know right now is if the sluice will be able to interact with the lido in the way that I'm thinking it can. So we're going to test this real quick, and it's paused because we still have 1 day left in the drought, and I would like to have as little water in here as possible before all this nonsense happens. But let's go ahead and put in a lido. We're not going to actually build it. I just need to make sure that I'm going to have the same kind of interaction physics-wise. Let's put in levee down there, and then I'm going to put in a sluice on this block. Yeah, and it blocks it. I figured it probably would because you have those teeth that come out. But the reason I had to check that was because this is how we've decided to put this in. Just right up against the wall here. So what I had as an idea, kind of like a compromise between the different suggestions that everybody put in the comments, was what if just for the very bottom here, because remember this is the same height, this is 6 tall, and this is 6 tall. What if at the very bottom, just say right here, again, we'd have to be very careful about how we built this because there is a little bit more water than we have the ability to dispose of. But if we just set the sluice back, I obviously can't place this right now because the teeth are conflicting with this wood. But if we just set the sluice back 1 tile, so we don't have to move these lidos, then I think that would be perfectly fine. And then we don't even have to take this wall. Well, we do have to take it out to move this piece at the bottom, but we can put it back just the way it was. Just put this here, and then I would probably have to check and see if I have to put something on the top or to the sides of this. I don't think we're going to. But basically, I think that's the best way to accomplish what you guys have been asking for in the comments, and do that on this side and on this side. Somebody else suggested that we could put in a channel between these two, but those single-wide channels really evaporate quickly. So I think it's probably better to just put in 2 of the sluice gates and just call it a day. But the tricky part is we have 1 day to do this, and the water is going to be coming back very quickly. So before we unpause, we basically have to have this entire thing set up. And the only way this is going to end without flooding is if we increase the surface area at a lower depth in our reservoir. And, conveniently, we do have not all of the dynamite, but we have a pretty decent amount of this dynamite ready to blow. That's going to, of course, make the overall level a little bit lower. And if we get it down to right about here-ish, maybe a little bit higher than this dark brown area, then I think we're going to have minimal flooding before anything else comes in. And because we have paths out to this area, we have access from the inside, we have access from the back, I think we're not going to run into very many problems, and it should being the operative term, end up being a pretty simple, normal thing here. You might ask, why don't you just blast this all the way down here? Because we do have a couple of extra tiles, or I guess specifically one more we can go down. Well, if I put the sluice underneath the Lido, then we can't automate it. Because remember, these guys have the close above downstream depth thing, and it can go down basically as far as you can imagine, but it cannot go any higher than the top of the block, which means this could not be automated. So, I know people love for me to start the video and then spend 5 minutes talking, so if that's you and you're upset about that, then I'm sorry. I want you to know that I care about you, but we have to do this the right way. Absolutely non-negotiable. So let's go ahead and just set this off, and I'm going to make sure that we don't have any possible accidents. I don't think they're going to make their way through here, but just to be sure, go ahead and set that off. All right, so what that's done is given us a little bit more room, and this will level out just a tiny bit. It's reduced it like maybe a very negligible amount, but I've got one more secret weapon. Because remember, we're getting more water anyway, so it's not like it really matters. We just go ahead and open this, and that will kind of backfill a little bit. And it's okay if a little bit of the water goes away, because my main goal is to not flood this area, because that's very annoying to get that dried out. This is set to open. Why is the downstream depth thing turned on? That needs to be turned off anyway. But we got to get a little bit more of this out of here. Just send it this way. These guys are open. Should be fine. So now they're going to be closed. Has this lowered at all? Alright. So I guess I look like an idiot. Nothing new. But we're really running out of time. So I think what's going to make the most sense now is for us to just go ahead and demolish. We'll call it... I guess we'll go right out to the very edge, because that is the furthest way out. And this is going to let more water out here, and it is probably going to flood just a tiny bit, but that is a sacrifice we're going to be willing to make for the time being, and just kind of deal with it. I don't have this set to close at all. Yeah, this really should have been flowing through here quite a bit faster. And then this a bit here. See, this is where this gets hard, because we do have to take out the power as well, and this has to be blasted. But we have the ability, because of the magic of these things, that we could just close and then shunt all of the water through here to hopefully make this work. And I think our little weirs here are going to be able to handle everything. We'll see what happens. And if not, then I guess you guys get chaos that you crave, and then you guys get to say I'm stupid in the comments, which everybody seems to have fun doing. So we're going to go ahead and just get this thing popped right in place. Try and get them to build all of this. Yeah, see, look how simple that is. Really simple concept. Hopefully not too stupid of an implementation. Just go ahead and... Wait a second. Okay, now, that was weird. It was at 0.00. Let's just say 0.9, and then hopefully we never have to have any pollution there. But let's take this out, so we know they can't reach that. And then we are going to lose power to our grist mills here, but we have 11,000 food. That's not going to be a problem at all. And then I've just got to take this out here. And then to get this blasted correctly, I am going to have to do a single dynamite. And then I'm going to put in this right here in advance of us putting in the sluice gate. So, we have, hopefully, the ability to get this locked up before we have any more horribly bad flooding here. It seems like this is doing about as well as it can. Yeah, we're looking okay. We're looking okay. There we go. Let's turn that back into auto. Turn that back into auto. So this is already in place. Perfect. Beautiful. And now this is flooding again, because of course it is. I guess I shouldn't have closed that. Alright, now I've got to come in here and put in our sluice gate. And then we'll do a platform here like we did on the other side. And then we'll put in all of these levees here, and they'll just build that at their convenience. And then we can pop the rest of this back in like it was before. And that shouldn't be an issue. We'll just get them working on this, hopefully, a little bit faster. Now, there is another consequence of this, and that is that we have flooded the Agoras, which, you know, honestly kind of unavoidable with the expedience with which we were supposed to be doing this. So, sorry about you. You can't do your fume huffing and chanting or whatever goes on down there. But it's for the greater good. We're going to get everything else taken care of and let these guys do what they've got to do. So, since we're already here, I just absolutely had to make sure that we got that done before we got into anything else, because I was absolutely going to forget, and then it would be a horrible, horrible time trying to get that figured out. But I had a very interesting idea proposed in the comments of the last video. That is, what if we took the carousel, and instead of having one here, we moved it out a little bit, put it on the edge of these dance halls with the help of our overhangs, kind of like we did here. Connect these guys very easily to the straight power shafts, and then in this exact spot where the carousel currently stands, we put one of our zipline stations. I think that's a cool idea. I'm not entirely sure how to do that. We might have to just kind of fiddle with it while we are in the process of doing the videos, but you know that's how we operate here. I don't have a staff of strategists. Well, I have you guys in the comments, but you're not on staff, so I don't expect you guys to be supreme know-it-alls of beaver engineering, but if you are, then hey, please do identify yourselves. But I digress. We've got a couple people that are really, really good at this and have always provided some helpful ideas. But I think that's something we can explore toward maybe the middle or end of this episode, or possibly the next one. But there's still plenty of other stuff we want to take care of, including, yes, putting the path in to this zipline station, which is incredibly embarrassing that I forgot about it. But, you know, life goes on. Go ahead and get this set to auto. That's still set on auto. But this, you know, this sluice here isn't really relevant anymore because we have all of the stuff blown up back here. It just ends up being kind of like, okay, well, why'd you do that kind of thing, right? So, it is what it is. We'll get it figured out. We have a whole bunch of mess to clean up in here as well, including a little bit more blasting that we haven't had the ability to get into. Reminder that we cannot blast any of this, but the rest of this can go down 2 more, and then this can go down 1 more on this side, but that is not our biggest priority right now. So let's pause these fluid dumps. One of the goals you guys talked about with automating this whole thing so that we didn't have to have beavers here and we could maybe do something else with that space. And since we're currently staring at this, yes, frog statue enthusiasts, I believe it is a fantastic idea to put in some frog statues overlooking the Lidos, just like that. So you know, you can get your laps in, and then you can do whatever you do with the frog statue. I don't know, but assuming that this is working correctly, okay, that needs to be set to, I guess, what did I have the other one? That 0.9, I think. I guess it doesn't matter. But I do like the idea of doing that. Is this feeding? It is. Okay. Good. Another thing that was discussed was to have this whole feeding thing contribute into the whole reservoir over here. That would require a pretty big aqueduct that I don't really have a good idea for design on. But I'm not saying we can't ever do it. I'm just saying right now that's something that I would have to do a whole lot of thinking and probably enlist the help of you guys as well. But we also have some other, you know, regular water sources here, and then there's some up here in this corner. And then I believe, yeah, right in here, there's some more. So there's a lot of clean water on the map we're not utilizing that eventually, you know, before the end of the series, I would like to be able to get to. But there's still plenty of other stuff that we have to discuss this time. And I'm going to do my best to get as much of this done as possible. But please do bear with me, because I am only human, and we, we have a whole lot of stuff that's got to get done. But the general opinions about the housing complex have been pretty positive. A couple people have some different ideas that I don't think we're necessarily going to be able to do, but I do want to try and incorporate as much as I can. And one of the questions was, are you going to integrate the zipline, like Grand Central Station thing we talked about several episodes back into this housing complex? And I don't really know, if that's going to be possible the way I originally envisioned it. But if you remember when I was talking about these carousels here, we were talking about moving them off to the side and then having one of these zipline stations in the middle. We could easily turn that into 2 or possibly 3, depending on how you wanted to get stuff connected, because there are some ideas for creating kind of like a spiderweb network of very, very close zipline stations so that everything can just kind of have convenient close transfers instead of having to go all the way around the map to get on a different zipline system. But I think it would be smart, and this is something somebody directly suggested as well, to have a more direct connection from the vertical farm to our food storage here, which if you take a look at this zipline connection, this is exactly the correct length to hook up to this guy. And it's not necessarily direct, but for right now, I think that's a pretty easy no-brainer. And, you know, there's no risk of mid-air collisions here unless somebody's hanging way down on this zipline, in which case we'll call that user error. But, you know, that's just a nice simple improvement that hopefully makes this process of getting the food out of here, into here, and all of this different storage and processing stuff just a little bit less stupid. And, yeah, we can already see beavers utilizing it, so that was a smart choice. And I think we can be very happy with that. So, let's go ahead and remove the fluid dumps. Since it's pretty clear those aren't going to be necessary, we can fill these pieces in here, and then this platform also can be replaced with a piece of terrain. So another one of the suggestions that we got in the comments was to plant some stuff here along the side of these lodges, and I think that would be a good place. The suggestion was to put dandelions and berry bushes and stuff for a little bit of varied landscaping, and I think that would be kind of fun. Obviously, we don't really need to have these things here, but it's one of those, you know, one of those little details that I think is kind of nice to be able to have. So once we have all this land back in place, we'll be able to do that, and then we will have to put in a, what do you call it? Very technical term there. Forester. There you go. Good job, me. But yeah, this is just a nice, simple, quote-unquote free thing to do just to make it look a little bit nicer, and then we can also continue putting in some of these decorative things as well. But as you can see, we do still have a lot of work to do in the reservoir, and I'm not really sure when we're going to be able to tackle that. It might just have to be one of those situations where we say, you know what, enough's enough, we just have to rip the Band-Aid off and get it done. But for right now, I think there are still a few things that we would like to take care of. And last episode I talked about the maple pastries and not really having enough supply. It seems that problem's been solved. It's showing 1,200. All of our food supplies, with the exception of berries, because we don't have any more than 430 storage, are showing well in advance of a 1,000. So I think we can be pretty happy with that. I do see a not full storage of maple syrup, which, seeing how it's kind of generally trending down, is not really a fantastic sign. But keep in mind we have recently added a lot more storage for that, and it could just be the shock of it trying to keep up. Because there is still a lot here that needs to be harvested, and this tapper shack is not exactly set up efficiently. I have the tank here all the way up here. And I think we owe it to our beavers working on this to have a little bit more of a convenient setup for putting in that maple syrup, because this is just, it's super far away. This is not prioritized by haulers, which, easy step one, prioritized by haulers. Set that to supply, prioritized by haulers. And yeah, we got 55 beavers who aren't doing anything. And you guys really don't like it when I don't fully employ the beavers for some reason, so I guess I can humor you. And we'll put in a couple more hauling posts. But yeah, these guys have tremendous opportunity to, you know, just kind of exist and be productive. So popping these guys here next to this zipline station is going to make it maybe a little bit more tolerable. 30 additional hauling beavers is obviously not everybody, but it is going to make a pretty big dent in any of these inefficiencies we have in our network, and we can be pretty happy about that. Water levels here are continuing to rise very, very slowly, but, you know, it's fine. That's just kind of how it works. Back here, rising slowly as well, but remember that we have very full storage here of water, and our aquatic farm has been doing very, very nicely. It's set to 0.75, and it's actually a little bit higher than that, and the evaporation isn't going to be too quick down here. We kind of got this figured out, and I think we can more or less declare this to be quote-unquote finished. But there's at least a couple of you who are not satisfied that this is not perfectly round, so I figured if we're going to continue expanding the reservoir, which we don't necessarily have to do, but we might want to, then we can continue blasting this out as well. And I did say that I was eventually going to remove this sluice, and then I have completely failed to act upon that a number of times. So, you know, just lots and lots of stuff that we can just kind of easily fix that we haven't. And that's something that we should be, you know, maybe a little bit more diligent with. Trying to do our best. We did fix that problem over here, and that has enabled us to have this nice big pool, but obviously that does take time to get filled up. But there's a lot of little tiny things that are really going to make this a whole lot better. And like I said, it's going to feel like, you know, drinking through a fire hose a little bit, but we got to get it done. Bad water rig needs to be automated, bottomated, whatever your preferred nomenclature is. And it's only 2,000 science. We have 6,300, so let's go ahead and do that. That's going to reduce some of our injuries, which, you know, we only have one. But one is more than none, and none is the goal. So that's going to make it possible for the beavers to have a little bit less of a dangerous lifestyle and do whatever it is they choose to do. And in kind of the same vein, we only have one centrifuge, which currently is not a problem because we have a nice full storage, almost full storage of the catalyst. Not catalyst, extract. We're trying to make catalyst. But we have 1,000 extract, and we have 700-ish catalyst. We do have the storage for that there. But some of you guys noticed these terrain blocks do not have dirt, which means they cannot be built, which means we cannot have extract storage here, which means we cannot have maple syrup here, which means that the catalyst production process is going to be substantially slowed down. So to get terrain blocks, obviously we have to have a dirt excavator. And if you remember last episode, I did talk about us needing to put one of those in here because we hadn't had one. So if we lined this up the same as the other ones, then, well, roughly the same as the other ones, then I will need to put that right there, which will get us pretty much most of the way there. Just go ahead and get these paths out of the way. And then we can, you know, come back and blast the rest of this out at some other point in time. But we do just have to get it done. 37 well-being, a new record. Very good to see. And the clearance is going to have to come up over this. So we will have to have double platforms, 5 of them, right the way across here. And then this tree is going to have to go away. And then we will need to get our power in as well. Fortunately, we have very easy access to power here. It's just going to be a little bit kind of ugly, but that's, you know, nothing I haven't seen before. And we can just have this come straight across here, super easy, with minimal extra effort required. And then that will be very, very simple for us to get accomplished here. Again, nothing incredibly beautiful, but things like this rarely are, at least when I build them. Get that popped in there, then we'll get that popped in here. And we do have another drought coming in 2.7 days, so yes, we very well could have had this whole thing that we did at the very beginning of the episode done during this drought, but I figured, you know what? Just do it now, and then later on you're not going to have to worry about it, because you know how these episodes tend to go. It is very common that I will say, yeah, we're definitely going to do that. And then, you know, we don't do it. So I'm trying to get better. I'm trying to genuinely avoid disappointing people like that. And I think that is the best way to do it, is just say, do it now. No choppers involved. I'd be surprised if anyone picked up on that. But anyway, moving on. We did talk about the additional centrifuge being a possible future need. I think we're going to have to evaluate what's happening with the production of the maple syrup as well as the catalyst as a whole before we make the call on that. Obviously, it's nice to have the extra capacity, but we're going to have to think about where we put additional buildings since we have so much of this stuff kind of shoehorned in there. I think what might make more sense thematically is to blast this out and then just pop another centrifuge on the back of this and have some sort of access around this side Actually, you know what? That does make a whole lot of sense. We could have some storage on this side as well, tank-wise, but that's going to require a little bit more work. Because, like, that would go in right there, and then I'd have space for 2 smaller tanks, the medium ones, here and here, and then have this just come right around here. You know what? I kind of like that idea. And by I kind of like that idea, I mean I really like that idea. So I think I'm going to do that. As long as I don't cause an enormous problem, and I think it's all fine here, because this is... Okay, that's actual land. It's not supported on stilts or anything, so it's going to be impossible for us to mess that up. Famous last words. But that's going to go there for that. We'll bring this out here. And then this will have to be built up. That's going to be fine. Then this goes down. Yeah, I think that's going to work, folks. So, yeah, remember what I said, 2 minutes ago, but yeah, we probably don't have to do that. Well, we're going to do it anyway, because that's just how we roll here. This is still flooded. I mean, I guess it's going to take a while, but that's unfortunate. Oh, I just remembered. Since we're down here, yes, we do need to have extract to run these things. Well, they're currently flooded, so nothing's happening anyway, but we do need to figure out a way to put in an extract tank, and I think maybe the easiest way to do that is going to be, since we have this cut out already, we take out one of these stairs. Oh, there's that carousel music. Take out one of these stairs, and then take out this piece of land here, and then we can put a small tank under that, and then I think, depending on how I have this set up, I'm pretty sure the small tanks can't have any sort of a platform on top of them. Let's find a small tank and test that. I have one just sitting somewhere. Yeah, we got one here. Obviously, there's only so much you can do on top of this, but we can use overhangs. Now, just trust me that this is possible, but I'll show you anyway. Yeah. So, for that to work, we would need to remove our beaver buddy here, and then also... See, I can't see anything. I gotta peel this whole thing back. We would have to remove... okay, for this specific thing, it wouldn't actually be that bad. But it would be a rather large project. But we could bury a tank down there, or we could just say, you know what, that's way too much work. That's going to cause way too much disruption to the lives of our beavers. And we could just put a tank somewhere else in the general vicinity, and that would honestly probably be fine. But you know what I see right here is I see some bio-beavers working in a job they don't necessarily need to. But this is 4,000 science, and that's a lot. It's a lot of science. So I think we should probably put in another observatory or 4. Because, we're making a pretty good amount of power. It's over 10,000. And if we want to be about what we're going to be about, we got to put our money where our mouth is. So, what's better than one observatory is 2 observatories right next to each other, so the little telescope lenses collide and shatter, and then you have to rebuild them. Sounds like a fantastic, flawless idea. But we'll let them get rid of that stuff while we work on building this thing back out the way that we talked about previously. Super simple concept. I'm not going to put in earth here because that might cause backups and floods and all sorts of other unsavory events. So instead, we'll come in here with the centrifuge, and then we'll come in here with the tanks, which just flip that so they look nice and symmetrical. And have this come all the way around the back side here. And then this one can be for extract because it's closer to these, and this one can be for bad water. Set to obtain, set to supply. And there you go. Nice and simple. And that's fine. Get these detonated here. Oh, please, autosave. Pop in another observatory here. Get that connected with a path. And we can just have the, normal beavers working in this one. Should not be an issue at all. Just has to get built. And it's about time for our drought. And look at that. Our reservoir is basically full. I don't think the way this is set up, it can ever really overtop here because of how we have our sluices and everything. But this is a nice amount of water to have at the start of a drought, and it's 24 days. So most of this is going to be gone by the time we're finished. Just have to do what we have to do. Now, you'll also remember, most likely, if you've been paying attention, that our gravity battery supply of power is not sufficient to get us through an entire 30-day drought. And while we have added a bunch of windmills, it's still not really enough. And there's a lot of different things we can do to add more power. Obviously, we could put some windmills across here. But I am not entirely sure if I want to keep this here. We've talked before about moving this somewhere else. I just don't know for sure how I want to go about that. So we might have to address that in the future. But what we can do, especially as we get more dirt and these things are finished, which it looks like they have been, we'll be able to just kind of make more land for the sake of making more land. Let's, before I, yap myself into a problem here, let's put a forester in so they can plant those things. And then, should we ever need to, we can put a gatherer flag down and harvest those indefinitely if we ever had to make the antidote for the bad water poisoning, but I really don't think it's going to be an issue. Just let these guys do what they got to do and move on. Got these last 2 dynamite bits, and another observatory goes in. Do we really need 3 of them long term? No. Is there any, continuous consumption of science with the Folktails? No. Is it cool? Yeah. So there you go. There's your reasoning on that one. But now that that's taken care of, I feel comfortable putting in at least a little bit more terrain for the purpose of getting a couple more gravity batteries in place. Again, just because we can. There's not really any reason not to. Just pop that there and there. And we will, of course, have to have these platforms available to build from. So, the other question about, well, what are you going to do about more power is we do have space here to put in an additional windmill, but I am kind of concerned that we're going to have interference with the zipline, which, really shouldn't be that big of an issue because we can always just move this one somewhere else. And honestly, maybe should, because there's not really that much going on here, with the exception of the drilling occurring here, and then all of these dynamites that have to be placed, because I have to redo these ladders, because, I put them in backwards. I'm never going to have to blow that up. Well, the future's now, old man. So we're going to have to, get rid of this. Get that swapped around just a touch. But I'll tell you what we're going to do to make this actually make sense is we're going to blast this down all the way and then build the ladders up from there. So I don't have to do this again. So this is going down 2 blocks here. The rest of this is going down 2. So this height actually has to go down 4. Which means this has to go down 1 more right there. And that's going to bring it down to this level, which is, of course, the bottom of the map. So that should be hopefully a pretty quick thing. I had forgotten that one of these dynamites was already set to go, so I guess we'll have to fix that problem as time goes by. But fortunately, that's going to be super easy. Just get that popped in right there, and then I will blast this down 2, and then I'll just put in a what do you call it? Yep, exactly. A platform so they can get across to this. Nice and easy. Blast the rest of that down, then blast the rest of this down. Never, ever, 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 1,000 times repeating, blast this, because then we're going to have huge problems, and we can move on with our life. Look at this. We got 3 telescopes, abandoned at night, the best time for viewing the stars with the telescope, and they're all pointed in different directions because I guess they're looking at different stuff during the daytime, which, good luck to you, man. You might see something interesting, but you're probably not going to see too many stars in the daytime. I digress. I do want to see, how much more time do we have with this flooded? Okay, it's going to be a long time. It's going to take forever for that to drain, so we don't need to worry about it yet. But I'm really happy with these being automatically filled. It looks so slick. It really does. I like this a lot, and I do think it's time to start moving the beavers into all of these things. So I'm going to start pausing some of the more outlying houses, and we have 4 of these. Go ahead and open that up, which means now we have 5 open spots. We go ahead and pause that. Instead of pausing, let's just go ahead and get rid of them. Remember, we're going to be condensing houses here, and this was never supposed to be here like this. I wanted to make something that looked a little bit nicer, and we don't have to necessarily have it be super efficient block style stuff, but let's be honest, this is not our best, or it's not my best at least. So just nice simple thing of getting these a little bit more cleaned up. Get those done as well, and then I can open up this house, which should still have a couple of extra beds. And then, yeah, we got to do something else. What is this guy making? Oh, he's making bread, and he's way off over here. This is one of the first ones we put in. It's probably what happened. Why do we have so many injured beavers? Oh. Yeah, it's this thing. All right, bot time. There you go. Problem solved. No more injuries. It's against the rules. All right, taking a look at my notes over here. Okay, we've already got most of this stuff taken care of, except moving the carousels. And I'm so curious. I am so curious about like how this is realistically going to work. Because we know the carousel has a 5x5 collision area, even though the base is 3x3. So if we're going to do this, I think it can go over this mess, but I do like it being this area here. So we would have to have, I think, depending on how we would do this, we want to have the 5x's, so it would be coming out to here, and then they would be rotated, so they would come in to the center, and basically right where this top edge here is with this rope is where the doorway would be. That would converge in the middle, and then because these conduct power the way that they do, I should be able to just put in a zipline. Of course, it's not going to give me the ghost on it, but I could put the zipline station probably facing this way, right about here, and that should be something that would be in service of our goals here. So let's go ahead. Again, we don't have to have this on the very edge because the base is only 3x3, but we do need to go ahead and take this, and then also, because we're going to be suspending stuff, this, replace that with, I said, the 5x5 here, 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 and then once that's done, we can go ahead and build this carousel in a different spot, and then we will have to, obviously, reconfigure how this is set up. But I think this should be fine. We obviously need to have power run to this, so that is an easy opportunity to do one of these. I don't think they can actually build from underneath on this block. I know they can on this, but you know, if they can, that's going to be cool. If not, then, well, they can just walk over here. It's not going to be that big of a deal. It's not giving me the out of range warning, so maybe they can. I am so curious. Yeah, okay, neat. That is actually a big surprise. A very welcome one. So that's just about finished, and like I said, we're going to move this over. I hope this works, because I'm going to feel kind of dumb if it doesn't. But that's going to be exciting. Really cool stuff. Eventually we can, you know, take the beavers out of the observatories, but for right now we can just, you know, let them do their thing. There's still some pretty big unlocks we have to have right here, like this is 20,000, this is 12. Actually, all this together, that's 32, that's 35, that's 36,000 for the monuments. And we have 6,100, so I guess the three observatories is actually totally fine. This is operating. Oh, this needs to be bots. Okay, easy fix. Easy fix. All right, looking good. These, honestly, since we have the... Oh, why did it do that? Since we have this, I'm just going to pop that up to 10, and we no longer have to have bad water pumps here. So that'll end up generating a little bit of power. And I'm not going to fill this in with dirt because, again, that could cause some flow issues. I don't think it would, but you know how these things go. So I guess if we really wanted to, we could put some tanks here. I don't think we need any more storage for extract and bad water, but having the water up here would not be a bad idea either. So, you know, just to make sure this stuff matches, I think this should be okay. Just pop this in like so, and depending on how we want to have this set up, I guess coming out this way is probably fine. Yeah, we'll just do that. It's easier. And since there's no land, there's no bad water here, I can take these platforms and levees out, and I can replace these with the dirt just so it looks a little bit better. And then we can maybe reorganize these things here. I'm not entirely sure. But I think we might be able to have some way of making that a little bit better. And if not, then, you know, it's not a big deal. But it sure would be nice. That's going to keep them busy for a while. This is already grass? Okay. Well, temporarily, let's put in... I hope they can grab that. I guess it doesn't really matter, but let's just go ahead and put in these ladders here so we can actually, you know, utilize these things, and then those other problems we can solve as time and resources allow. Alright, time to say goodbye to the carousel. You've carried your last cell, whatever that means or does not mean, but that's going to fit nicely there, I think. And now I have realized the folly of my idea, and that is, you know, there's no room for... Wait, what? No way. No way. There's no way. It can't possibly allow me to do... Oh, this is so stupid. This is so dumb. Oh, no. All right, never mind. We're doing it. Now, this does mean, temporarily, we are going to have to remove accessibility to the submerged zipline. I know this is a very, very traumatic moment for some of you, but it's for the best. Just you know, don't weep. It'll be back. Your suffering will not be in vain. What a weird thing to say. Sheesh. But I'm gonna go ahead and you know, just move right along away from that, and we'll take this out. And I literally cannot believe it's gonna let me do this. That is just completely absurd. But this I don't need to have this paused. Let's go ahead and get that situated. That needs to go like that. And then, of course, we do this guy like that. I doubt severely I will need to have power go this way, but if I do, I would rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it. So we'll pop that in there. And again, I absolutely cannot believe it's going to let me do this. Just completely absurd, but it is what it is. Now, since I know it's going to come up, yes, this T intersection is directly on top of the existing ladder stack, and it probably would make more sense to put this turned around this way and connected directly to that ladder stack. But then the problem becomes, wait a second, no, that's totally fine. That's totally fine because this is, wait, no, that's not totally fine. Okay. I'm gonna have to ask for you guys' permission to do something really stupid. And I know you can't give it to me because I'm recording this video and it's about 9 p.m. on March 28th. And no one's going to see this video until at least about 11 p.m., possibly midnight, and then the rest of you guys who are not on the Beard Booster list will not see it until 10:30 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time on the 29th. So, absolutely none of you can give me your approval for this, but I know your hearts, and I know that deep inside your hearts, you yearn for this. So, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take away the T intersection. We're going to take away this overhang. And that is going to give us a beautiful opportunity, friends. We are I swear this isn't a cult. We're going to be able to put in this ladder here. And then, because of how this is set up here, we are going to have to remove this ladder stack. We're going to have to remove this metal platform. And then, using the wonderful, amazing, perfect power of overhangs, we will put in this double platform here, and then I will put in a 3x1 overhang here. And then on top of that, we'll put this guy in. And then on top of this, we'll very simply put a platform. And then what we can do is put a straight power shaft here on the back side of... I'm so happy with this. I know this is just absolutely cursed. And the clearance on this is abominable. Like, this should never be allowed to exist. But the game's going to let me do it, so we're going to do it. And that's the way it goes, bub. But now, look at this. Look at this. We can bring this absolutely wonderful, beautiful, flawless idea that has never, ever been wrong. We can bring that back to reality. And we can get this thing hooked back up. Oh, man, I love this so much. Oh, what a beautiful game. What a beautiful game. Take that, soccer. I'm sorry, association football. we're just gonna have fun with our beavers here. But we have space here to put in some beautiful decorations. And what could be more beautiful than some beaver statues? Right? I could put a couple of those here. We could also, if we had a little bit more room, we could maybe put a monument up here, but, you know, these are too wide, and that's 3, and yeah, you get the idea. So, we will unfortunately not be able to do that. But the decorations have never let us down, and we'll be able to just have 3 beaver statues, which will overlap together, I guess, half the house is same as this guy, and if we're going to get rid of this guy later, then that's going to be its own thing. But, oh, no. You know what I've realized? How do I always do this? I remember when I said I was going to remove this overhang so that we could put in our extract storage under here. Well, I have to not have this in place for that to be a thing. And I am very glad that this is not yet actually built, because if I had that finished, then, you know, I would become quite upset at having to remove this. So I really hope I can remember how this is set up, ready to go. I need these guys out of here. Let's just disconnect this. All right, dance party's over. Go home. I am almost certain we've already talked about this, but the VHS version of Shrek from, I guess, 2001, 2002, whenever it was released on home video, had that little bonus thing at the very end of the tape. You know, if you had the DVD, then I'm sure it was just on the special features menu. You're like, oh, that's cool. But if you're watching it on VHS and then the movie ends and then it comes back and they have this completely insane, like, dance party thing with all these animated, like, you have any idea how much time and money it takes to do computer animation in the year 2001? That's a lot of resources dedicated to a joke, and I think I'm going to respect DreamWorks forever because of that. But I digress. Completely unnecessary. This is going to have to get blown up so we can put our extract under it and have a nice, easy access for our agoras, and that is going to be fantastic. Let's go ahead and I think they should still be able to. Okay, well that was a choice that was made, but we do have to make some annoying, uncomfortable things happen in order for this to be the best that it possibly can be. That needs to be. I sure hope I remember how to put this back together. That's embarrassing is what this is. It's like, you know, you're like, oh yeah, something broke on my car. I can definitely fix that. And you watch like one Chris Fix video and you're like, yeah, I can do this. I can do this. And then, you know, you get your car apart. You're like, uh-oh. I don't know how to put this back together. It's like, that's not a fun situation to find yourself in. But fortunately for us, it's just a game. There's no actual incredibly huge monetary or other circumstantial cost to, you know, putting your car out of service because you wanted to save a couple bucks by not taking it to the mechanic, and then you're like, okay, this ain't gonna work. Regardless, I need them to give me some explosives here so I can set this off. And then hopefully we don't blow anybody up. You know how this goes. The beavers do love to get blown up. It seems to be one of their favorite pastimes. So, all right, let's peel this back. I do try very hard not to kill beavers. Sometimes it's absolutely unavoidable. All right. Okay, this is a little baby boy. Don't run fast now, okay? Because you see what's going to happen is this is going to go boom, and then you're going to go boom. Good job. You managed to avoid being exploded. Very proud of you. This goes here. Nice and simple. And then that goes there. Nice and simple. This goes here. This goes here. Now that's all connected. And we'll have a very hidden extract storage, you know, once this dries out. And now we get to rebuild this whole thing. But fortunately, because I told you we're going to remember, that means I am legally required to remember how to do this. So that goes that way. And then we had our double platform here. We had our triple platform, triple overhang here. And then on top of that, we had our 3x3. No, I made a mistake. I made a mistake. How did I manage to do that? How did I manage to do that? Did I, oh, I know how I managed to do that. This was at the wrong height to begin with. So, all right, let's peel this back. So I can think. Don't you love getting to, you know, watch me question my life choices in real time? That needed to have a platform. No. That wasn't a platform. Wasn't a platform. No, it totally was a platform because this can't be a ladder because the ladder had to go somewhere else. No, okay. It was a platform. There we go. There we go. There we go. That was the secret sauce that was missing. Now that goes there. Okay. All right. Now, see, now I forgot what I was going to say. But I think someone had made a comment. Is that actually okay, yeah, that's actually what that was. Someone had made a comment that they're so glad that I'm trying to fill the void that Skystorm left by not doing these mega builds anymore. This doesn't really qualify as a mega build, but I think this was a comment on the Amber Pelts thing. And I'm like, I don't know how to break it to you, buddy. I'm I'm not nearly as good at the game as he is. But I do appreciate when you guys you know, get invested with this stuff and have the desire to give me new ideas. That's always fun. Well, I have a good time with it at least. So you know, this might not be exactly the way that I had it set up before, but I think it's going to be fine. And I know I can put in this beaver statue here. I know for a fact that was there. Now we can go ahead and put our 3x3 back in. And we can put our... Nope. See, this is exactly what I'm talking about, man. I'm just a dude who plays the beaver game. And despite it being the primary thing that I do at this point, I still somehow have not managed to be that great at it. But I'm having a great time. And I hope you guys are too. I genuinely do. So now we do unfortunately have to have them build some of this back up before I can really do much of anything else. And I have to do the thing I was going to do earlier, which is when I realized I'd made a mistake. We have to replace this, and I don't know of a better way to do this, so I'm sorry. But we have to replace this with a little dog leg here, and then I'm just going to have it go right the way across here. And then, of course, we do have to have our beaver statues. All three of them overlooking the single beaver statue, because that wasn't enough. And I think that's going to be good. How are we already at almost an hour? There's so much more stuff I wanted to do with this. Oh, boy. Well, okay, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to have them time-lapse this construction process, because I really don't want to sit here and wait for it. Well, I mean, I have to sit here and wait for it, but you guys don't, because I can respect your time even just a tiny bit. And we will hopefully, by the time this time-lapse is complete, have a beautifully, perfectly functioning, slightly more cursed version of our housing complex. And we'll be able to put this idea to bed and move on to the next stuff, which honestly for the rest of this episode probably isn't a whole lot because I'm just about out of time. But let's go ahead and get to the after here. Okay, friends, I've just noticed a flaw. in this design, and that is, you know, how are the beavers going to get into the carousels if I put in a zipline station here? And then I had an idea. I suspect this is not going to work, but I would like to find out in real time with you right now. If I put it up on platforms, yep, okay, that definitely doesn't work. Look, look at the clipping there. How would you like your chair to go through a wall? That's not my idea of a good time. I don't know. No judgment on you guys if that's the case, but definitely would be asking some questions. Jeez, we're gonna move on. We got to figure out how to get a path hooked up here. I could just say, you know what, forget it. Zipline station cannot go here, but I kind of like the idea of the zipline going right by the carousels. And I am glad that I remembered I could flip this and have it turn the opposite way, because that just is a whole lot more appealing. So, yeah, I was trying to avoid having a big ugly ladder stack in the front here, but unfortunately I think it's pretty much unavoidable. So let's make it as not completely horrendously ugly as we can, and just, you know, put in a couple of ladders like this and then a staircase on top. I will consider this a major personal defeat because, you know, it's... yeah. But I think it's more important for the zipline station to have direct connectivity to this ladder than to have it in the front. Because remember, this ladder right here goes all the way down to this level with those dance halls and then housing, and then it goes down to this level with the agoras, and then up to the rest of the stuff. So I think that's a better overall, and it, you know, it does fit in the middle here. And I think it's fine. It's just, you know, maybe a little bit disappointing that I wasn't able to do the perfect solution here. But we can still do this, and it's, you know, it's still going to be really cool. I think we would be happy with this. And we just have to have them finish that. Obviously, the agoras and stuff are still flooded, and I'm not exactly sure when that's going to be unflooded. But what we can do is we can get rid of this forester here. If we want to put other stuff in later, then I guess we could build it back again. But I am pretty pleased with how this is shaping up. I think it's fantastic, and I know that we can definitely continue to do more stuff. Obviously, reorganizing this is something that I probably should have prioritized a little bit better, but you know how it goes. Now, I have two things that say no good. Oh, it's these guys. I never said they needed to hold water. Okay, well, that is a problem we can easily fix. Now that this has been cleaned up substantially, let's go ahead and put in some dirt. That will be totally fine there. These were already levees here, so this isn't going to impact flow at all, just to show you guys what we're working with. I do have this 2 wide gap. This is a 3 strength. All of these that I've seen on this map so far are 3 strength, so that is totally fine. And, you know, there's not a level change, so I don't think it really matters that much anyway. But that's going to clean up the look here just a little bit, make it a little bit nicer. And, you know, I absolutely could have filled this in a little bit. But we're going to move on and get to the rest of our stuff, because, boy, do we have to do that. We got 14 days left in the drought, and these are spent. So, you know, we're going to absolutely have to put more windmills in. And this is a problem I was trying to solve, but, you know, to absolutely nobody's surprise, I'm sure, failed miserably at remembering to do, because I got distracted by the fun of having multiple carousels and then the zipline station and all of this. But I do think this is an improvement. That's actually quite nice. And I think we can be pretty happy with that. Now, we have still made some nice improvements today with the modification of the Badwater rig and all sorts of other fun stuff. But, you know, we also still have this giant hole here that needs to be filled in. So let's just go ahead and make that happen. This will end up, of course, being a 5x5 platform that will then be topped with that. And then, oh, this is open. Okay, we need to fix that. Let's get this out of here for sure. Please, no silly billies. I do not desire to have silly billies. Please and thank you. And then this also needs to go away. See, these are the things that I completely forget about when we're, you know, doing other stuff. Please I'm begging you with everything that I have, do not silly-billy yourselves. Oh, you absolute buffoon. You absolute buffoon. And they're not named after the beer boosters anymore, so I get to actually say that. Man, why are you the way that you are? Zerkoi. Alright. Fine. We'll rescue you because I'm not completely heartless. But I'm not going to expedite this. Definitely not. This probably does not need to be set to accepting more, but I'm not going to get rid of them quite yet. I know this is driving you guys insane, seeing all this dead stuff, so I will go ahead and have them clear that out so we don't have to worry about it. And then, of course, these that are dead as well. So they will spread kind of naturally if we just leave them alone. But, yeah, that, I think, is tremendously helpful. We have the opportunity, and I probably should have tried this before we close this up, but, okay, that doesn't work. That makes me feel a little bit better. We have the opportunity to, you know, kind of plan this out and make this look a little bit less dumb. Notice I said try, but I think if we examine our minimum clearances, I imagine I'm not going to be able to put one here. If I remove this, remember they can build from underneath. Okay, that's not going to fit. Why would you put that there? All right, I don't care. That will work. I can put one there, which means I can then put one here, which means I can then put one here, and then clearances are not going to allow me to put one here. You know what? No rule that says a dog can't play basketball. Oh yeah, okay. Is that beautiful? No. Is it working? Well, also no, because they haven't built it yet. But that's going to help us out a little bit. Keep in mind, each of these right now is only making about 126, but it adds up. It absolutely adds up. And if we were to go out this side, I obviously could not fit 4. But we do have that option because, remember, we can build underneath super easily, and that should be a very simple process. Now, I left this unconnected here because I obviously can't have a 2x1 overhang going this way and a 2x1 overhang going this way on the same block, so I just decided to route it this way and then have this go across underneath this bit here. And the reason I did that was so I could have a power connection coming off of this side much more easily, and this was already connected there. But they're going to be able to take care of that. That's going to be nice. Obviously, we still have plenty of work to do over here that we kind of ignored when I got distracted by the fun ooh shiny over here, which, you know, obviously never ever happens. But we'll go ahead and let them do that. Obviously, we still have explosives. We still have extract that we can do stuff with, and we should be okay. But take a look at our maple syrup. I just noticed it's very, very, very low. And they haven't harvested all of this, but there is a there's a severe lack of trees that are able to be harvested. So I think if they can make this work, get up this ladder to put in dynamite, I do want to blast this all the way down, if possible. They're probably not going to be able to reach all of it, but we don't have to only come in from that side. We do have access over here as well. That was a stupid way to orient that. Let's fix that. Come on. There we go. Because there's a lot more land that we can utilize here if we just blast this down and plant a little bit more maple trees. Obviously, I can fill this in kind of as well on the same level if we feel so inclined. But, you know, it's another one of those easy projects they can work on slowly over some period of time. But yeah, there's still so much to get done. And this obviously is not connected because we're still building these. We don't have any paper because why? So this should be... Oh, we didn't have bots go in here. Let's do that. That's an easy problem to solve. I totally forgot about that. They're already doing this, and they're already doing this. Let's just take a look at our jobs here. Bakeries, I don't think we need to worry about that. Folktails probably would like to be in the bakery. Builders' huts, for right now, they're fine. Fluid dumps, we probably should be getting rid of most of those if we possibly can. Although there's a couple we're not going to be able to get away with not having. These foresters are paused. Wait a second, why are the foresters paused? Okay, because that one doesn't need to be planting anything. And that one also doesn't need to be planting anything. That's fine. Gather flags, we probably don't even need those to begin with. Grills and gristmills, I'm going to count that as enjoyable food time. Hauling posts, if we had a little bit better distribution of the fuel and the catalyst, then that would be the next thing I'd turn on. But the water pumps I think would be a logical thing to have the bots do, so yeah, I guess we could prioritize those. Lumber mills are already good. Lumberjack flags are already mostly bots. These are paused. Okay, that one there, and then this one up here isn't paused. Oh, well that should be a bot anyway, because we already had that discussion. Mine, thankfully, has been bots for a very long time. Paper mills are now fixed. Printing presses are done. Refineries are done. Smelters are done. Wood workshops are still, you know, kind of out here. That's fine. But I'm glad we checked that, because I had no idea that I hadn't actually set these to be worked by bots. Oh, and here I go again with forgetting that I have to finish an episode. Oh no. Darn it, I'm just having so much fun playing the beaver game, I don't want to stop. See, you know, that is a thing that I'm really genuinely thankful for, is that this is legitimately still incredibly fun for me. And it doesn't really feel like a job most of the time. I just want to make sure that I don't make any more incredibly stupid mistakes. I just want to lay this out so I don't forget, because, let's be honest, you and I both know that I will absolutely forget, and it will be funny for you, but not very fun for me. Yeah, folks, we're going to have to end the episode here. I know it's disappointing not to get to everything we wanted to do, but we still made some really great improvements, and, you know, this is not the most beautiful thing I've ever made, but it's better than it was last time, and I still think we had a whole lot of fun. So I really appreciate you guys. I say it every time, but it's because I feel like I absolutely always have to make sure that you guys understand. I cannot do it without your support, at least not to the degree that we're doing it today, and I am very thankful to have it. So, Beard Boosters make it possible. Funding the channel, making it possible for me to exist as a human being outside the realm of everything else I do for money. And I'm having a whole lot of fun, and I hope you guys are too. I really appreciate getting to do this with you. And I hope we can have a whole lot more fun in the future with the Beavers and other games, which, yes, I've been saying forever are coming back soon, but they're coming back very soon. Very, very soon, folks. I just have to, you know, end one of these series first so I have a day slot open. But we're going to get to that point very soon, get back into Roller Coaster Tycoon and get back into City Skyline streams and Satisfactory streams, which, by the way, 1.1 in Satisfactory comes out on April Fool's Day, and that's not a joke. A lot of really, really cool stuff, and I'm very excited to be able to get back into that. So I think, tentatively, we're going to try and have that April 1st evening stream on that Tuesday night at the launch of 1.1 and get back into all the fun with that. So if you've been following Satisfactory, get excited for that. If you haven't, well, that's okay too, because we have all sorts of other stuff coming down the pipeline, including Oxygen Not Included live streams for all of you who've been eagerly awaiting the return of that. But enough yapping. This is already way too long of an episode for what I actually accomplished. So have a fantastic rest of your day, and we'll see you back in this series on Tuesday. And we'll see you tomorrow for more Apocalypse Mode. Take care, friends. Bye-bye.